long and short of it, we welcome David and Patsy to noise11.com. And, well, let's talk about new music to start with.
That would be awesome.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the internet.
Yes.
So we could be at any time zone of the day at the moment. Good morning, good afternoon, Patsy. Good morning, good afternoon, David.
Good morning. Hi, Paul.
A little love will fix you. That's a lovely way to start an interview, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, David, well, Patsy, a little love will fix you.
Yes. Fix you right up, actually.
Yeah. Tell me about the latest song, the newest music that we've been introduced from the long and the short of it.
The Little Love Will Fix You Up was based around the idea and concept that, love can conquer many things. And sometimes, you can be in a relationship that's not necessarily there's anything really drastically wrong with it. But sometimes it takes that relationship to end before you can find something that's better. Basically, you can move on to something better. You can find a newfound happiness, and although you might be feeling down and sad about the relationship you just lost, the new one, can make you feel happy again. So that's where that sort of idea came from for the latest release. A Little Love Will Fix You Up.
And you wrote that with Kenny Royster, didn't you, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
I did.
Well, the legendary Kenny.
Yes, the legendary Kenny.
Yeah, he's got some runs on the board.
Yeah, we didn't think we could afford him after he had all of the success with Luke Combs, but fortunately we've become very good friends, and so we're still in that relationship.
Give us the legal summary of who Kenny is, then, Patsy.
Kenny is a producer in Nashville. His name is Kenny Royster, and he has an amazing studio over in Nashville and records amazing people. But probably his claim to fame is working with Luke Combs. So before Luke,
the long and short of it.
Of course. I mean that goes without saying, Paul. But the what happened there was that he vocal coached Luke Combs for 2 years before he released his first album. He actually produced 8 of the songs on that first album, which went triple platinum around the world, before he actually, I think, signed up with Sony. So, but the good thing was that Sony didn't change any of the mixes or any of the production on Kenny's work. So he's credited with all of that. And I think, and when I say we wondered whether we could continue to afford him, was because obviously when you've had such a high with a triple platinum record internationally, your price point goes up a little bit too, as does your reputation. But anyway, he kept it at a reasonable price point for us. There you go.
It was Mate's rates. It was Mate's rates.
That's good. Yeah.
And continued to write with us too, which was really great.
Yeah, I mean, we love to work with him. He's quite tough as a vocal coach, and he was coached by Celine Dion. That was his vocal coach in the early days. And he's spent a lot of time with a lot of high-profile producers and vocal coaches over the years, so he's learned, and he draws experience from their experience. So, I mean, you're in good hands. So if he's telling you to, sing something in a particular way or hold on to a vowel, emphasize a vowel in a certain way, you certainly listen to him. He really does know even though it might feel weird to do it at the time, he definitely knows what he's talking about. And then when you hear it back, you go, oh, okay, now I get it. This is why we're paying him, this is why we're working with him, because of that experience.
Yeah, well, it's very important to match, the artist with the producer and the songwriter. There's quite a triangle that, you have to get into the inner circle to make everything work out right. What was the process that you had to go through before you and Kennedy decided that, hey, let's do this. Let's make this album.
There it is. Good Lord.
A physical disc too. Yes, yes. The younger end of the demographic watching this will be surprised to know that you can actually hold music in your hand.
You can,
and actually play it in a superior audio quality just by having a physical disc.
Yeah,
that's it.
I still like. I mean, there's people that still have CD players and still enjoy. You know, if you can hold something in your hand, you feel like you're getting some sort of value for your money.
Wow.
And also you can sign it.
Yes,
and it's got the little book with the lyrics.
We got the book with the lyrics inside, so they can learn them.
Yeah,
and sing along. But the process with Kenny was, in actual fact, we've been recording with him since we first went to Nashville in 2013.
2013.
God, 10 years ago. That's amazing.
Time has flown.
And when we went back the second time around, we produced another album of other songwriters' work, but one of them we'd written ourselves. And after we produced a song which was called "You Made Me Stronger" with Kenny, he actually contacted us and said, "I'd like to co-write an album with you." And then we wrote "The Night of Our Life," which did really, really well for us. And then, of course, we just sort of extended it through lockdown and decided the great thing that you can do, of course, is songwrite on Zoom. So we did that with him for this album as well. So that's kind of how it worked.
Yeah, and it was a lengthy sort of process. We had to, schedule a time and dates that we were both available. And obviously working with the time zone wasn't that easy. So it was early morning for us and evening for him. But we were very, very happy with the results. It probably took almost 2 years to write it. And new ideas were, in the process of writing, the ideas changed a little bit. So the original concept of the song on some of the songs would change completely by the time we finished it. Just revisiting it and making sure that and we wanted to keep the whole album very, very positive. We wanted to keep it, no doom and gloom in the songs. It's all a positive message, and to make people feel happy, inspired. That was the whole idea of this album.
Some of the harmonies on this album are just gorgeous. The way everything, the voices just fit and knit together. Like, were you fans of like the great harmonizers of the past, like Crosby, Stills and Nash? And
absolutely.
Well, I think we're more probably fans of that now, more than ever, because we really appreciate harmonies a lot more. And I don't think probably Patsy didn't realise that she was a natural harmonizer in the early days. We were seeing a local vocal coach, we're taking some lessons, and he started to eventually coach us as a duo. But his ears actually picked up one day when Patsy was waiting for her lesson after mine, and she just started harmonizing to one of the songs that I was singing, and he just kind of, the look on his face was like he'd heard something really, really special. And then that's when we knew we had a very good, complementary voices. And we've just sort of...
Excuse me. When I first met you, I said that we had a complementary voices.
Well, I didn't really believe you. I mean, how could I hadn't sung with Patsy before. I hadn't met Patsy before, and she goes, "I think our voices would be very complementary." Oh yeah, right, okay,
yeah, sure.
But it turned out she was right, and Stephen Zammit, who was coaching us at the time, he found that was it was a really good blend, and it's one that doesn't come along every day. So it was. We think it's something.
A lot of people think that we're related because, sister, brother, whatever, because of that, the harmonies. Because, I mean, obviously families have the edge on harmonies, particularly because of the tone in their voice. But
damn you, Bee Gees.
I know. But look, fortunately, for us, it's the tone is there, so it blends really, really well.
We're very lucky.
Very lucky, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right on point with the topics for a country album, aren't you? Loneliness, cowboys, beers, food. But you've got the topics right.
Absolutely. Love.
Love. Yeah. Well, we set out to, right from the very beginning, we said we've got to put a couple of beer drinking songs on this. And And you know what? They're always fun to write. We have a lot of fun writing those, and you know, we hope people, you know, get a bit of a giggle out of that and a bit of a laugh out of it. But you know, I suppose that goes along with the whole country theme.
Mm.
Yeah. What about a sounding board? Who do you use as a sounding board when you've got the songs? You know, before you release the songs, do you take them out to family or friends and do a bit of market research on what people like, or you know?
Absolutely, yeah, friends and family, and because you know you have a variety of songs, you're not sure which ones to release, or even what order to put them in on the album. You know, and so we're very fortunate though. We had this time around we had Robert as well, Robert Rigby from Ambition, and we were able to send them to him, and he would sort of tell us, well, you know, this one I can't get out of my head. You know, I've been singing it in the office, so it must be good, you know. So, yeah, and that was really handy. Just to have that sounding board is really important.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. What about your love of Reg Lindsay and remembering Reg Lindsay? You did the show recently, you know, where you paid tribute to Reg Lindsay. Tell me about, you know, that lineage and how that crosses over from way back then to now with you guys.
Yeah, well, you know what? The interesting thing about Reg and Dave, or you could probably talk about that, is that he had he was quite out there for a country musician in the era that he performed, because he wasn't your typical balladeer. He was singing more contemporary style of country and very Americana and Nashville based. And in fact, he was the first Australian to actually sing at the Grand Ole Opry. His former wife, she, you know, had many performances there after, because they both lived in Nashville for quite some time. But it was just interesting, because that's how we kind of feel, I think, a bit about us, don't we, in terms of our approach to country music?
I mean, yeah, he's obviously a legend, Reg Lindsay. But I mean, when we were invited to be a part of the show, I actually did a lot more research on Reg and started to listen to a lot more of his music. Mm. And I did realise he was pushing the boundaries back then. He was doing, you know, his style of music was like no one else was doing here in this country. Mm. And I actually mentioned that to his daughter. I said I didn't realise that, you know, how much he was pushing the boundaries. And she said, oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it was very influenced by the Americana style, which we love. And so I think there's quite a few songs of his that we'd like to cover in the future as well. Yeah.
The one we sang at the show was
Armstrong.
We changed the lyrics a little bit because, you know, as of course time changes, so does, you know, your the politics of a certain way of singing a song. Yeah,
just a couple of words.
Just a couple of words, really.
Really? I'm trying to think back to the Armstrong. How do they get?
Well, it starts out with Black Boy in Chicago, and we changed that to Young Boy in Chicago, because we felt that, you know, that was far too poignant in terms of, you know, assigning poverty to a black boy. So we figured that, you know, we could just be,
but
you know, Young Boy.
Yeah, it was one of his biggest hits, and you know, breaking it all down and learning it and the phrasing and looking at the lyrics, it is quite a beautiful song. You know, I could understand why it was a big hit for him back then, you know. So
even though it's a very short song too, it's only
it is. It's not
minutes,
very.
really.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes.
And very timely as well, wasn't it? There was Reg Lindsay and David Bowie with Space Oddity about the moon landing at the same time.
That's right. Yeah.
Very different styles.
Yeah, very different styles.
But very, very interesting subjects. Yeah.
You've clocked up quite a number of awards over the years. Is there an award shelf there? I mean, you know, we're not seeing a shelf behind you there. Where all these awards kept?
Yeah, that exists at my place. We decided we'll keep all the awards at either Patsy's place or my place, and Patsy was happy for me to keep the awards at my place. So I do have a whole shelf, and I've had to extend the shelf a little bit to you know, hold all the awards. And you know, that's something obviously you never expect, but it's great when you get them, and it certainly makes us feel good about what we're doing, and we're obviously doing something right, and people are appreciating our craft. So that's a great thing about awards. It spurs you on to do, try and do better. Be the best you can. So the Southern Stars Awards that we won in Mildura in 2016, that's probably one of the awards that I'm most proud of, actually. We did not expect that at all.
Well, we didn't really expect any of them.
We didn't expect any of them, but that one was, we were up against some fairly tough competition at the time, and we thought, us as little independent artists, we've got no way of taking out this one. And we had no speech written or anything for it, and then there we were. I think we were 3 rows from the front.
Oh, I had this theory, Paul. I said to Dave when we walked in, and all of our competitors who were really amazing artists were sitting at the front in the front row, and we were pushed up to the back, on the 3rd row. My theory was, we haven't won. Don't panic. We haven't done the speech because we're sitting back 3 rows, and those people that are in the front, they'd be closer to the stage to go get the award. So don't worry about it, Dave. We're fine,
I think I did say that, though. I said, I don't think it works like that. But, I'm not expecting to win this, but I don't think it works like that. And then
my theory was wrong.
Obviously, when our name got called out, we just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I was actually shaking. I was
shocked. Yeah.
Yeah. The debut album, I think you've been going over 10 years now. I mean, you're past the 10-year benchmark, haven't you? So you're getting up to that veteran stage, aren't you?
Oh, yes, I think we are veterans.
Standing at the station must feel like so long ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And a long time ago. And we look like babies on the photographs. It's terrible when you look back and think, oh, my heavens, we have aged, actually,
We use old photos for our new poster promos.
No, we have not been doing that. We actually didn't do that. No, we've used current ones, but I now know why the veterans do use the old photos. By the way, I think that could be a really something we might have to look into.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Unlike a lot of artists, you have the luxury of having your own studio as well, Mantra Studios. How often do you get inside the studio and create while you're in the office? Do you sort of go, oh, look, it's lunchtime, let's go up and knock out a few songs? Does it work like that?
You're quite right, because Dave actually said to me yesterday, he said, I think we should be in the studio now. I think we could head up there now and we can do a bit of rehearsal. Plus, might have some ideas,
Yeah, so we have, in the studio, we use that for our rehearsal. We're just rehearsing together without the band. We'll go up there, and it's quite an inspiring place to be, to rehearse in anyway. But we probably don't get as much time as we'd like to get in there and record demos, but we're definitely going to try and make more time to do that. I mean, the studio's really only been sort of completed in the last sort of 6 months anyway, so there's a little bit more work, things I want to add to it and stuff like that. But it's a never-ending. It is a real luxury to have your own studio, because obviously, we can record anything anytime we want. Yeah, so.
Actually, this probably 12 months has been room.
Well, maybe 12 months.
It's just he keeps adding to it, though. Paul. It's one of the. It's like the toy, and it has to have all of this new.
It's only been 6 months since I've put all the nice toys in there.
Oh, yes, a few more extra toys in there. Yes.
What about the legend of the Mantra Ghost?
Oh, I didn't realise you knew about that.
Oh, dear, we must have been. Truly. Very, very scary. No, actually, the ghost is a really nice ghost. We think the ghost is pretty sweet.
Not out to hurt us at all.
Not out to hurt us at all. But it actually, the building that we have Mantra in, it was one bigger building, and we've subdivided it. So on the other side there is sort of storage area, and before we developed here, we used to go into that storage area to rehearse in one of the lockers, because we didn't want to affect the neighbours. We were affecting the neighbours too much with our rehearsals. So
there's one big locker there, which is locker 19, and that's the one we used to rehearse in.
Yeah.
And I, sometimes Patsy would leave. She had something to do, and I would
only when we were packing up at the end,
and I would stay back and sometimes, play a bit more, rehearse a bit more on my own,
and pack up.
And something happened one day. Well, it was happening for a little while, and I didn't mention anything to Patsy because I thought she'd think I was crazy.
I did.
But when I turned the PA off, as the speakers were powering down, there was these voices coming out of the speaker, like the speakers were speaking to me. And eventually it got to me. I thought I have to tell someone about this, and I encouraged Patsy to sort of stay back every time I turned the PA off in the hope that,
Well, he might have thought that, but in actual fact, the two things that happened was David told me about. One of the things that the speaker said on the way out was, follow your dreams.
Never give up.
Never give up. Follow your dreams.
Which is a nice,
really positive message. and it sort of related well because, we're singing and we're following our dreams. And there was another one that was really positive, but both of us, for the life of me, can't remember what it was, probably because that one stood out. Anyway, I was there in the Locker 19 and Dave, by the way, we'd also had some of the speakers blow up in that location as well. So we thought we had a really bad lot of speakers and maybe that could have accounted for what was going on. And so I was in there and David powered down the speaker and all of a sudden there was this amazing old BBC from the 30s. It sounded like it was from about the 30s, a BBC production of the cricket. And it was one of those, like Richie Benaud kind of, voices, but it wasn't Richie Benaud, but a very old English voice. And it said, "Oh, and he's hit a 6." And then you could hear the crowd.
The crowd goes wild. Yeah.
And it all just faded out. And I looked at Dave.
And I said, "See, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy."
I could not believe it. It was ridiculous. If I hadn't heard it, obviously I had suggested they go and get some help. But having done that, I then said to Dave after we were sort of standing there, I said, "I know this is really weird, but do you think someone's died here?" And so I get onto Google and I looked up Google and there was, in fact, an article from the Trovet, I think it was, and it said there was a fall from the roof and a young boy who was out the front of the building playing cricket with his mates because it was a factory back then.
Wow.
He was playing cricket and they hit a tennis ball onto the roof, a 6. And he went up after a friend to retrieve the ball. The friend got the ball, but he continued up there. He said, "I can see more tennis balls." And so he started running across the roof, but it was asbestos. And so he fell through the roof to his death below, falling onto the machinery that was inside the factory. So that he was, his name is Johnny Dewars. And he died in February, actually, 1933. So 2nd of February, 1933. So it's just extraordinary that so that's why I say he's a nice kid. He's 14, and we think anything that's happened here that's a little bit odd, nothing of great moment. We always say Johnny, say good day to Johnny or whatever.
It's Johnny.
It's just Johnny. It's fine. He likes music. He's given us some positive messages. We're happy.
Yeah.
You've never written a song about Johnny?
No, we haven't actually, but another artist, Angus Gill, who came here and performed, we told him the story. He wrote a song about it, but we are about to write a song about Johnny Dewars because we think that, he's quite a remarkable young kid.
It would be a good, thing to write about.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Absolutely.
It's something real that happened to us,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And we leave it on that note.
I didn't know that we were on, some ghost story sort of thing. But anyway, we can. We've got that.
I mean, some people don't want to hear about it.
No,
no, that sort of stuff freaks me out. But
no, but it's all right. It's really fun. Yeah.
Well, the album is Midnight Choir. It's the long and the short of it. Congratulations on the new record, Patsy and David. Great to have you here at Noise 11.
Thank you so much, Paul. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Your time, mate.
Yeah.